Memphis track boy, let's go, let's go, let's go.
My Colorado swing, my Colorado swing, my Colorado swing.
Welcome into a new BuffStampede Radio. Adam Munsterteiger, the publisher of BuffStampede.com, joined by a special guest today, Sherrard Harrington, who played for the Buffaloes and has been on quite the journey since his playing career with the Buffaloes. And we're gonna touch on some things like Byron Leftwich's connection to H.D. Woodson and some other topics. Sherrard, I've been looking forward to this. We've been trying to get this scheduled here for a little bit, and you were one of my favorite interviews when you were a prep recruit back in high school.
Man, thank you. I appreciate that too. And you were one of the best. Your personality, I always appreciated that. So, man, just seeing things a decade later, it's good to see you.
It's great to see you too. I'm curious what it's been like as a CU Boulder alumni watching this Coach Prime-led program the last 2+ years.
Yeah, Adam, I mean, as you know, prior to Coach Prime coming in, it was a lot of ups and downs for us. It was very painful to watch. Even during my career there, it was painful during that time. And it was like once Coach Prime came, it was a jolt of new energy, and just seeing the whole entire Boulder community come around that. And it's just been a crazy experience. It's a surreal moment, even thinking Coach Prime came to Colorado. I'm sort of out of that honeymoon phase and looking forward to the next stages of what we're going to become.
Yeah. Did you see Buff's gear out where you live? I know you said you're spending time in DC and in Miami, and then you're traveling international. How often do you spot somebody with Buff's gear on?
Adam, I'm laughing right now because it's funny that you said that. Literally, I'll say prior to Dion, when I walked through the airport, I would see someone with some Buffs gear on, and more likely than not, 9 times out of 10, they went to see you. Now, when I go in the airport, I'm just automatically saying, go Buffs to people, assuming that they went to see you. And they stop me and say, oh, no, I'm just a fan of CU. So it's a whole entirely different environment. You see how the brand is building around Colorado, and it's just truly exciting. I got to let people know, stop being bandwagoners if they're not truly invested into the Colorado, what we're doing. But most of the time, it's a great experience on the road.
Yeah, I mean, there are new Colorado fans. What I've witnessed, though, from the vast majority of these new Colorado fans is their care factor is very high. And I mean, you see groups like the CU Aunties that are like organizing trips to go to these NFL preseason games just to support guys that played for CU. And I know when guys that played at CU came back to campus in the past, they got a lot of love, but now there's so much excitement about Colorado football. Fans are getting on the road to go support these guys, even in the NFL. I've just really enjoyed watching kind of the meshing of that. And there's been a lot of drama in the national media, but it's kind of like into this community that's built within CU Boulder, even stronger the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm happy that you mentioned that, even about the new fans that's coming on board, because I see that same support as well. These fans are pushing full steam ahead, and a lot of them too. I love them at the airport when they're rocking our gear. That's just free marketing, so I appreciate y'all as well. But just the atmosphere, I agree, is totally different with just a diverse audience. I would say that's the main thing. It's a diverse audience from the traditional Colorado media, just different backgrounds, different aspects of life, and bringing their opinion about Colorado football. I think that makes it the beauty of exactly what we're saying right now that Coach Prime and his team are bringing in.
You were born and raised in Washington, D.C. What was your experience like growing up there?
It was tough. I'm going to be honest with you, Adam. It was tough. I think when I came on campus, I just got finished dealing with the funeral to one of my best friends. Six of six of us hung out with each other every day. All of them are passed away now, and that happened from when we started out at 5 years old and going up into my adult years. That I had to deal with that. So with DC, it's very tough. I know you all see in the media, the national media, about the crime that they're enforcing in DC. Those are things that I had to deal with as a young kid, just navigating the DC streets while trying to make a way out, utilizing football in my education.
Did you always kind of know that you were going to aspire to do great things, or what was kind of your mindset during a tough childhood?
So I'm gonna be honest with you, Adam. Growing up in DC is you're conditioned to have only I would say three avenues that you think you can go. That's playing sports, being a musician or a rapper, or being a drug dealer. That's what you're conditioned. So of course you say, well, you can be just a normal student, a law-abiding citizen, growing up in these environments. But that's where it's the DC element of being tough. You got a lot of influences around you, and sports for me was a way to mitigate those influences impacting me. It impacted a lot of my friends. Fortunately, I had a blessed talent where coaches took me under the wing, and I had a family that really cared into my belief. But DC is a very, very tough place. It shaped me who I am today, and appreciative for this interview as well, Adam.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious what it was then like when you got into the recruiting process. Was that a feeling when you could mentally start to think about kind of a different future?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. As I just mentioned, a lot of my friends died prior to that. So the recruitment process immediately on my mind, Adam, was to get out of DC. I did not want to be close to DC. I wanted to start a career somewhere else and just put my city on, sort of have long arm length distance. So that played a huge role, played a huge impact into getting out of DC and going to Colorado.
You helped HD Woodson to 29 wins during your prep career, including a 10-3 record as a senior. What do you remember most about playing high school ball with your fellow HD Woodson Warriors?
Man, that's a good one. We had so many experiences, Adam, that I would say maybe the big, the best experience that I had with those guys is coming in as freshmen, sophomore. Um, we're right in the inner city. So HD Woodson, we're right in the inner city of DC. It's no private school, it's public school. So all the odds are stacked against us. If you don't make it in the NFL or make it out of HD Woodson, typically the odds are, again, stacked against you. So going into it with that mindset at HD Woodson, um, working with those guys, knowing that they are coming from those same environments that I'm dealing with. We're all dealing with the same shared experiences. We're all trying to get out of DC. We're all trying to get scholarships. The best experience that I gathered with those group of individuals was forming a shared vision and fighting to get to that vision of where you want to go, despite whatever challenges that you're facing in that journey. So we were fortunate to win championships back to back to back. That was something that was never done at HD Woodson. I know we got Byron Leftwich and those guys that come from HD Woodson. Even their previous generations did not accomplish those things. And for us, that was a big thing for us to create a dynasty with a bunch of group of individuals that have a shared vision, and we accomplished that.
And new Colorado quarterbacks mentor, Byron Leftwich, hails from HD Woodson as well. It's been fun to watch him around the program this fall. I think the quarterbacks in Boulder have quickly learned a lot from him. Obviously, a great career at Marshall College wise, and then goes on and wins the Super Bowl as a backup quarterback later, wins a Super Bowl with Tom Brady with the Buccaneers as the offensive coordinator there. And Coach Prime, I asked him about Leftwich at Media Day in Boulder here recently, and he said that as much as we expect from Byron Leftwich, he's been more than that. How much is he revered around just the area?
Man, Byron Leftwich is a legend. I'm gonna just say that. Adam, just personally for me, I grew up in a neighborhood called Watts. Every Father's Day, just athletes, celebrities will come to Watts and just play on the basketball courts. And I remember me like 7, 8 years old, I believe. Orlando Brown as well, if you're familiar with him, that played at Baltimore Ravens. He went to H.D. Woodson as well. Him and Byron Leftwich will always drive their cars, their Phantom Rolls Royces through these neighborhoods that I'm mentioning to you about. Now, I will always look at that and say, one day I can get there if I work hard just like them. So to say that story, when you mention Byron Leftwich, that's a true of seeing that firsthand, and now him coming to Colorado. It's like a full circle moment of, man, this guy can't get away from me. He went to H.D. Woodson, now he's at Colorado now. So to hear him at my school, man, it's really impactful. It's a surreal moment for me, to be honest with you.
That's awesome.
And Adam, if I could mention too, because I don't think a story that get mentioned about Byron that really inspired me too. It's like sort of like when you come in as freshmen at CU, they give you this handbook. Here's the way to do things. We had that similar experience at H.D. Woodson. Here are the people that you need to look up to. Here's what they have done. And they always mentioned this main story about Byron that really inspired me. They were saying that Byron originally played JV football and that he was a receiver. And his coach, a guy by the name of Bob Hedden, which was our assistant head coach, once he retired, they asked Byron to throw the football to him. And they said he threw that ball so far. And that was the moment that he was discovered to become that quarterback. They moved him to varsity. And just that story right there always resonated with me since I was a little kid. So, yeah, that's Byron Leftwich. That's how much it means to me, to be honest with you.
That's great stuff. Thanks for sharing all that. Yeah, Travis Hunter could have been a quarterback too. He's got a crazy arm.
He can play everything, man.
Yeah, he really can. He can do it all. But it's been great to see now Coach Leftwich in Boulder. I got to ask you about the recruiting process. You were a 3-star safety prospect, and I'm trying to remember. I remember you committed to Colorado kind of late, right? Wasn't it like late in the process, like January?
Correct. Yeah, I was exploring my options between Duke and Iowa. It got down to that late. And then, as you know, coaching changes happen. Different coaches that were recruiting me at, let's say, Rutgers started to go to other places. And it was just a lot of new opportunities, to be honest. So that was the reason for Colorado switch. And then Coach Embry came. I think that was the biggest moment where I said, this is the place where I want to be, and that staff that he assembled.
Did the players seem to really love Coach Embry? Was he somebody that you could kind of lean on as a mentor throughout your process while he was there in Boulder?
1,000%, Adam. It was truly hurtful to see him get fired during that time. I think me as a African American, come from an African American community, seeing an African American man go into a prominent role like that, I knew how much it meant for other people that look like ourselves and say, man, we can one day get there. To see him get fired it was really hurtful. For me during that time, I was injured, so I couldn't really even play an impact. And I really didn't even want to even contribute to that even thought process. It was above my pay grade, basically. But I keep in touch with those guys, and as a father figure, Embry has always been that. That was a part of the main decision making. That me coming 1,000 miles across the country, I've never even been to Colorado prior to me coming to Colorado. So it was Embry definitely played a factor in there from a father role.
What do you remember about your first trip out to Colorado?
A lot of snow. A lot of snow. Adam, I mean, I think the first time I visited there, it was the spring game. I was with Nelson Spruce, Tyler McCullough, Greg Henderson. We went out there, and it was just a bunch of snow. And I knew at that moment I was saying, I don't know if I can deal with this much snow. I don't know if I can deal with this much snow. And then the next day, all the snow melted. And at that moment, I said, man, this is a different place now. Like I'm an East Coast guy. So once that snow is gonna be there for a good month. So those are things that I got accustomed with, and seeing the mountains in the background, it felt like a true movie when I saw that scenic view is unbelievable, especially as a city boy that's used to buildings and being constrained to environments like this.
Taco Bell has teamed up with CU Athletics this season, and they launched the first ever $7 Buffs box, a cheesy gordita crunch, a beefy 5-layer burrito, a Doritos Locos tacos, and cinnamon twists with a signature CU Buffs collectible cup. Is your business growing but not quite ready for a full-time CFO? Macaulay Capital offers fractional CFO services for companies doing more than $3 million in annual revenue. You get expert financial leadership without the full cost. Learn more about how you can improve your business's profitability and cash management at MacaulayCapital.com. If you know Boulder, you know the Hungry Toad. We've been serving this town since 1991, long before the lines on Pearl Street. Just north of campus, we're your local British pub with proper fish and chips, quality burgers, a scratch kitchen, real English cask ale, and no tourist fluff. We support CU football, women's soccer, and the loyal fans who keep it local. The Hungry Toad, Boulder born, Buffs proud. What was it like having to kind of deal with some injuries early on? I'm sure that was pretty frustrating coming in. You've got these goals, these expectations, and at first I think it was the hip and then the knee after that.
Yeah, so Adam, that was truly, truly tough for me because I'll be honest, I talk a lot of trash. So coming in my freshman year, Coach Embry already put a battery in our back as his first freshman class, right? We going in there with the mindset that, oh, we can start as true freshmen. We can come into that. That was the pitch. So to be in the DC, right, your entire life, 6 years old, you're working each and every day to say, I'm gonna make it out, I'm gonna make it out, I'm gonna make it out. In football, is your way out. And immediately when you go into this prominent program, this big time program where all your family, your friends, you're like, they know you're going to the NFL, right? You spent too many years for you to stop right there. And for you to get injured right there at that moment, it was one of the worst feelings I've ever dealt with ever in my life. And then not to know where it came from specifically. Like I hurt my hip, and I remember the trainers, we thought it was just a weak glute at the time. So I would do extra like hamstring curls and lunges and things trying to strengthen my glute. But in the entire time, it was a stress fracture that was just further either damaging, and I never got back to myself. So how that felt, that mentally you're telling yourself that you can still do these things, but physically you cannot, and it's hurtful.
Yeah, tough transition, but you hang up the cleats because you have these lingering medical issues. When you think back on things, how did maybe that turn into a positive for you in life?
Yeah, agree. So, man, as I told you, Adam, I've been dealing with adversity my entire life. my family sort of built me to deal with adversity and overcome adversity. So despite football being my main ticket out of DC as my main avenue, I knew once I got to Colorado, I'm too damn far to go all the way back. So I'm gonna figure out what can I do here? Who do I need to know? What things I need to know, and mitigate the risk of me going back home and coming out with nothing. So that experience for me, it was I had to make sure that I didn't leave with anything. So that was part of that transition when you're going out there, you're hungry, but of course, Buff fans who took me in mostly with that transition. Um, hey, come work for me, or hey, can you meet this investor, or hey, like this investor that I know is a Buff fan, and this is pre NIL days. So, Adam, we had to worry about compliance, basically saying, hey, you can't raise money from this investor or this person right here, or you lose your scholarship. For me, I did not care because I already broke my hip. I was done playing sports. So that was that transition where it was like, okay, I'm not upset with football too much anymore. I found that next avenue for me. This is my new football.
George Hippolyte, who played for the Buffaloes during the Dan Hawkins era, once got in front of the team because he's a lawyer now, and he had a very strong statement that was kind of along with what you were saying there. And he said that if you're not taking advantage of this opportunity, if you're not going and proactively trying to build as many connections as you can, then you're wasting your scholarship here. And I really think your message of what you just said is something that every college football player that goes through an injury should think about. You know that I'm sure there were some really rough nights having to deal with not playing football anymore, but to be able to find the silver lining in the situation and take advantage of it, I have a lot of admiration for you for doing that.
Thank you, Adam. Yeah, I agree. Like day one, I think if I would have came in as a freshman, I think freshmen now can implement these things, and well on to their freshmen. If they're seniors now, they definitely need to implement that same message. If you are going to be coached by Coach Prime, one of the best players of all time, one of the best marketers of all time, why not build that brand? Why not build that foundation right now under this new landscape? So yeah, it's definitely a new ball game, Adam. I think they could supercharge what I did when I was done my career and started getting investors to invest in my stuff. They can supercharge that. I'm 10x, 20x with this whole NIL environment. Remember, I had to navigate the whole compliance situations. These guys don't have to navigate that. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam. I don't want to get these guys in trouble now.
It's an evolving landscape, and they're trying to get rid of the collectives and try to make it true NIL. There's going to be people that are going to find kind of ways to get around that always. But at Colorado, Rick George he was initially very against NIL because he spent a lot of time on this committee creating guardrails that the NCAA just put up on a shelf, and he's like, was just frustrated. And so Colorado was a tick behind the eight ball initially with NIL, but they've caught up. They're certainly not on the level of, the Alabamas and those, a lot of the Big Ten and SEC schools, but they weed out some guys that maybe wouldn't be a good fit for the program because for all the attention that Coach Prime draws, I mean, it's very much an old school program that he's running right now. It's about discipline, hard work. And if you don't buy into all of that, then you're going to get spit up and chewed out pretty quick in this program. So it's been an interesting thing to watch with Colorado. Certainly there are better cars in the parking garage now than there were 4 years ago. And God bless them. They're putting their bodies on the line. I think it's a great thing as long as it's done in the right manner, and now you've got the settlement, 20.5 million, a lot of that going to football, obviously, for most programs. So it is a good thing that these guys are getting compensated. There's still so much about the sport that's got to get figured out though long term.
Agree. Adam, it's funny you mentioned about the cars in the parking lot. I came up to Boulder, I'll say about 7, 8 months ago to speak to the law school. And I went in the parking lot, like you just mentioned. And I just had nostalgia thinking about the days when our parking lot, we had teammates had their grandmothers pass down their cars to them, and now when I go in there, I'm thinking, are we at a Formula One type concert or what was going on here? So it's definitely a different landscape. I love to see it, especially at my school. I love to see it. Yeah, it's a great feeling.
You actually sold your first startup when you were still a student at CU, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What was the startup that you had?
Yeah, I had a property management, sort of asset management company. So we acquired properties in Boulder, Colorado, mainly student housing. That was like my first step into business. Let me understand how things work. So that was a great experience for me. Transitioned out of that and went full deep into tech. And that was an amazing opportunity for me being in Boulder when a lot of these top tier tech companies were just starting out. It was an amazing opportunity. Didn't even realize I was in this environment. But again, God works in mysterious ways. Uh, just put me in Colorado. I could have been at University of Maryland, but still would never had this Boulder tech community exposed to me. So everything worked the way it was supposed to.
That's awesome. What else has gone on since you graduated from CU? Anything else that you've accomplished since your days in Boulder?
I'm always trying to work. Now, business is my new football. I'm always trying to improve at what I'm doing. I have a company called EonXI. It's more mainly a private equity company, uh, doing some of the things that I've done when I was early on, merging, investing in companies and building companies. So it's been an amazing experience. I think with this new NIL landscape, my company is going to play a huge impact with that, with helping a lot of these athletes create their own family office infrastructure. As we just mentioned, that parking lot, we need to make sure that even with those parking lots, some of those things could be bad investments. So just creating that different aspect, that different knowledge and providing tools and infrastructure, those are the next things for me in my journey with my company.
That's awesome. Any other goals, aspirations going forward?
Man, I hope to see you in the national championship this year. Those are my goals. And just connecting with the CU Buffs. Now in my adult years, no longer playing as a player. But yeah, those are my aspirations right now.
And it sounds like Danny Sanchez, CU soccer coach, might have somebody to keep an eye on going forward.
He might do, man. I don't know. Yeah. We need to get him some get her a scholarship soon.
Okay. Your daughter, how old is your daughter?
So it's actually my niece, Adam.
Your niece. Okay.
Yep, my niece. Yep, she's 9 years old. She's into uh, I don't even know the right landscape or what it's called, but she's into the real like traveling soccer leagues. I never played
Yes.
soccer, so I don't know too much about it, but she's full force in it. She tells me that she's better, faster, stronger than me. So I like to see the new generation. Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, these youth soccer tournaments and leagues are pretty intense. So that's great that
Agreed.
she's in that.
And the
Uh,
parents are crazy too, Adam. The parents are
yes,
crazy.
they
Yeah.
are.
That's why I'm taking my time on that.
Just to close out, because you have so much advice to give, given your journey. I'm curious if you were going to sit down with a high school football recruit that's going in to play at the University of Colorado right now. Is there something that you'd want to really kind of pass down to help them make that transition?
Yeah, when I was young, and I remember people coming in talking to us and saying, "Hey, young man, if I can give you this one piece of advice, football is not forever." And I used to say, it used to go out of one ear, out of another when they said that. And you never know how God may work. Again, in my situation, I was completely 100% healthy going into Colorado. My body felt great. I was best days of my life, best shape of my life. And just out of nowhere, get injured. And that injury impacts you for the rest of your life. So I think going in there with the mindset that football is not forever. However, with that mindset, you leverage football to get you where you ultimately want to be. So my advice to these new recruits would be more business acumen. Understand that it's not just football, but it's your life. Be a businessman to your life. Even if that's not your major or whatnot, be a businessman to your life and making decisions that's going to impact your future. Not just 5 years from now, but the next 20 years and your kids. That'd be my advice, Adam.
Great stuff. I'm glad we could finally get together over Zoom. And next time you're in Boulder, Sherrard, we got to maybe meet up, grab lunch or something together, because you're one of my favorites that's come through the program, and it's so great to see you doing well in life.
Appreciate that, Adam, man. Thank you. And when I come to Boulder, I'm gonna take you up on that offer. And man, looking forward to that.
Before I let you let you go, I have one more question. Is it true that you auditioned for The Wire?
Oh yeah, yeah. So that's a funny. They had a little thing in DC where they was just getting locals. That was a local show in Baltimore. I auditioned but did not make it, unfortunately. But I had friends. Shout out to my friend Jermaine Crawford. He made the show, and yeah, I didn't make it, unfortunately.
That's cool. But you did some modeling too growing up, correct?
Yeah, a little modeling, not too much. You know, I want to get into modeling now in my adult years. Hopefully, I look, handsome enough. But yeah, a little bit back in my days, I played around with a little bit of that.
All right. Awesome, Sherrard. I appreciate you. And maybe we can get you back on to recap maybe a big game that happens this fall.
I would love that. I would love that, Adam. I would love that.
Awesome. All right. Appreciate you, Sherrard. And I appreciate everybody out there for tuning in.